ice fell. I don't want to stay to see anymore.
So you're convinced, based on the evidence that we collected, that we had some sort of encounter tonight?
Yes.
With something supernatural?
Truly.
A frightened guide was one thing, but I wanted to find out exactly what we heard out there. So while Tom went home, presumably to triple lock his doors and hide under his bed, I sent the recordings back to an audio forensics lab in California to be further analyzed. Before heading home to get the results, I wanted to check out rumors of a long serpentine creature that reportedly lives deep in the Mekong River. It is known as the Naga, and it had recently received Loch Ness Monster status, having reportedly been spotted on numerous occasions all along the river. It's been described as having a long, snake-like body with the head of a dragon, similar to something you'd find tattooed on a biker's shoulder. In the late 90s, a photo surfaced of a bunch of men holding what was said to be the Naga, but was later debunked. I wonder if it had anything to do with the fact that all of these men were American and not in Thailand. Then there was the fireball sightings reported all along the river. Some Thais believe it is the Naga blowing these glowing red orbs out of the water. Lastly, there's the footage that a woman had allegedly shot from the shore of the Mekong. Obviously, she never heard of YouTube because the only way to acquire her little Naga paparazzi video, watch it, and get more information from her about the Naga was to travel all the way to Nang Khai and track her down in person. It was enough to extend my plane ticket for a few days and make our way to an expert who had written many books on the Naga.
So, what do you make of all the people who have these sightings of the Naga? Do you think that these people are actually seeing something in the Mekong?
Could be, because it's not only one happening. There's so many happenings. I have seen a few video footage that some creatures, swimming in the Mekong, and we don't know what they were.
Do you think it's possible that that video footage is of a Naga?
We believe so. In the Mekong River, the Nang Khai province, you see Naga fireballs.
What do you make of that experience?
It happened. I counted 32 fireballs in 1 hour when I was there.
But what do you think they are?
The fireballs, but we don't know what caused it.
Some people believe that it's a natural occurrence, some sort of a gas that emits from the Mekong.
That has yet to be proved scientifically.
That has yet to be shown scientifically.
Yes.
After my interview with Pong Paul, I made my way to a local market. It was the perfect place to start my investigation. I knew it would take me hours to sift through all of the evidence, analyzing every last detail to lead me to the Naga. Alright, it had nothing to do with my investigation, but I was in Thailand. Do you have any idea how little they charge for watches here?
Please. Thank you.
Bright and early the next morning, we began our drive to the Mekong River. Pong Paul suggested we meet with a man that claimed to have found tracks of the Naga on a storeroom floor. He lived in a small town outside of Nang Khai entirely dedicated to the creature. After a quick detour to a snake village where the locals get a little too intimate with the cobras, we arrived in Naga Central.
So this is ground zero for the Naga. There's shrines and statues. Does he believe that the Naga still lives here?
Yes, he believes.
What evidence is there here of the Naga?
There's certain evidence of his trace up here.
There's evidence of his trace, of his track?
Of his track, yes.
So it looks like it was muddy here, and there are these drag marks on the floor that are supposed to be the scales from the bottom of the Naga. But then they washed the floor, or they didn't preserve it.
It went all the way around.
It went all the way around the building. But then why isn't it here now?
They put a glass box over it. 2-3 days. And then 1 month later, it was gone. It's vanished.
The serpent cleaned it?
Yeah.
As much as I relished the thought of a giant serpent with no arms diligently tidying up after himself, I had a hard time imagining how he'd pick up a broom. As I continued through the village and past the many shrines dedicated to the Naga, I was beginning to realize that the creature experiences in this town were more of the spiritual variety than the physical. The Naga is kind of a complicated creature because it's obviously a really important part of both Hindu and Buddhist religion. This place seems to be primarily a temple devoted to the Naga. We know further up north we have these eyewitnesses who've actually had physical encounters with the Naga. Yeah. So we need to go and talk to those people and see if we can start to thread together some more material evidence. I scanned the photos and sent them back to Dr. Andrew Angilis, our zoologist in the U.S., to get his opinion. I figured if anyone could tell me what was moving around on that floor, he could. Meanwhile, I wanted to find someone who'd actually seen the mighty creature in its physical form. Our Naga village tour guide told us about a local school teacher who had allegedly spotted the creature on several occasions. Credible eyewitnesses would help us find the perfect spot to set up our investigation, the spot where they said they saw the Naga.
Swadika.
They've explained to you that you and I are going to arm wrestle. Have they explained that to you? We're going to have an arm wrestling competition.
Okay.
To the death.
Okay.
Okay? No? Okay. So I understand that you had an experience where you saw a Naga.
Yeah, I have seen before.
You've seen the Naga?
Yes.
Where were you?
By the river.
By the Mekong?
By the Mekong River.
What did you see?
Yeah, far from the bank about 200 meters. I saw his head.
His head?
His head with horn like this.
With the horns? Two horns?
Yes, 2 horns.
Okay.
Like this. And it frightened me.
Yes.
It's Naga.
All right, so we go to that place where you said you saw it. Check it out.
All right, let's do it.
My new friend took us to the Mekong River.
So this is the spot where people saw the Naga a few years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Where did they see it? Just out here in the water?
Yeah, we understand that they look after the pagoda.
And is this the pagoda here?
Yeah, the Naga around here.
A pagoda is a multi-tiered structure thought to be spiritually charged and usually built near a temple. In this case, our witness believed that the Naga was protecting the religious tower. The Naga was starting to blur the line between the spiritual and the physical again. But I found the woman credible. She seemed to see something physical moving in the river. I decided it was time to meet with a marine biologist to get the scientific lowdown on whether or not this thing could exist.
Many people claim to have seen a Naga in the Mekong. What does he think these people are actually seeing?
There may be a Naga.
There may be a Naga.
Yeah.
Ask him to give me a sense of what large animals live in the Mekong River.
They have giant catfish, and recently there's also a giant Russian catfish.
A giant Russian catfish?
Yes, because...
What's the difference between a giant catfish and a giant Russian catfish?
แต่ไม่มีเกล็ด The giant catfish has no scale. It's the largest non-scale freshwater fish.
Right.
The giant Russian catfish is about 1.5 to 2 meters long. Now, another difference is that the Russian catfish eats meat, but the catfish eats plankton.
It's plankton.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure I'd be able to tell a catfish from a giant fire-breathing serpent when I saw it. Luckily, we'd get an opportunity since the biologist told me exactly where we'd be able to find this mysterious footage that led us on our journey. On our way to find it, we got distracted by another, less credible lead.
Believe in the Naga?
Yes, I do.
You show me on this map where the Naga is.
In Thailand.
Show me exactly where the Naga is on this map.
We are here so that in the Mekong River. Yeah.
Mekong River.
Yeah.
That's where the Naga is.
Apparently, the woman worked in a local market down the street, and the biologist said I couldn't miss it.
Have you seen the Naga in the Mekong River?
I believe I seen.
And there's video footage of that, correct? That you filmed?
Yes, I with my friend.
With your friend? And so you believe that was a Naga?
Yeah, I believe 100%. Newspaper can tell have Naga in the Mekong River. 100 people looking together with me in front of my shop.
The woman gave us 2 different videos shot in 2 different places that supposedly captured the mighty Naga on the Mekong. I gathered my team and sat down to watch the elusive footage. The only thing missing was the popcorn.
Do we have the footage? This is the perfect spot to look at it in the shadow of what has got to be the tallest Naga in the world. Here we go.
Yep.
Well, some